How now, brown cow? How now, brown cow? The fleet fox chases the chicken. La 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 la. Do re mi fa sol la ti do. Okay. yeah, I'm good to go. I'm good to go. Let's do it, Johnny.
All right,
Hey,
wait. Do we have anything to say before we start?
what do you want to say? Oh, between you and me?
Yeah, I mean, uh, do you have stuff? Do you have stuff for this podcast?
I've got emails.
Yeah,
I've got the notes that we've put down in the group. Although I haven't watched Clockwork Orange yet. I was going to watch that today, actually.
yeah. I didn't watch Marty either.
No worries.
I've got to watch it. Yeah,
What else have we got in the notes? Uh, oh,
I do have a bunch of notes. I don't know if they're useful. Like I've made notes for each episode, but um,
yeah, let's do that. Let's go through the stuff and what should we start off with?
well, I would like to say something at the start of the podcast. Nothing like big, just like a.
Let's get into it. Begin. Take us
Is
away,
this
Johnny.
it? Are we
Yeah, we're in
starting?
it. Yeah,
We're
we're in it,
starting.
boy.
All right, listen. Before we start, I've got one thing I want to say. It's not that important, but um, for the listeners' benefit, and
For the
also
listeners'
interesting
benefit, yeah.
for the listeners' benefit, and also for me, um, I'm going to be in a weird mood for the next couple of weeks because
Interesting.
I was probably in a weird mood like in the last episode as well because I work now. I'm on a work project now, and
Yeah.
I work. I'm not going to say what I do, but I work at something that requires a lot of mental focus, a lot of it could be quite emotionally draining.
You have to ring yourself. You have to really ring out a
Yeah,
lot
yeah,
of
yeah.
yourself into the work that you do when you do it.
Exactly.
There's
Yeah.
a reason you don't
And
do it year round.
exactly, yeah. I work intensely on project and then I'm off and then in and out. And when I'm on a project, I always have this slight crankiness, a residual sort of anxiety. And so I might be, if you notice me being a bit touchy, it's not because I'm actually an arsehole. I mean, I am actually an arsehole, but it's it's just because I'm on a work project. It's interesting for me. It's interesting to me to notice differences in my psychological state. Also, another thing.
But before that, I wonder if it's something only you feel from your end because I can't really tell much of a difference between
No,
when you're
no,
working and when you're not working.
trust me. Maya will tell you. My girlfriend will tell you.
Okay, all right.
It's
There's a difference. You're a nightmare to
yes,
live with.
yes, yes. I am basically. And also, I was playing a bit of FIFA 22 from the moment I got up until now. And one thing I've noticed because of my work, I noticed that when you play video games, it really does turn your brain into mush. You are far less uh, psychologically sharp when you've spent like 3 hours playing video games rather than when you've. Do you know what I'm saying?
Really? So you can tell the difference when you're working between a day when you've played video games and a day that you haven't.
Yes, there's a lot of things because my work is it requires a lot of mental power, mental focus, etc. I notice the effects of a lot of different things on
So
my own psyche.
you notice the food that you eat, you notice
Food, exactly.
like the
Yes.
weather, you notice the climate, you notice just the vibe in the air and how it affects you in different ways.
Yeah. I don't know about climate. I should pay attention more to climate, but food, absolutely. I've noticed. I have a vivid example through my work of
Yeah.
how much your mind degenerates when you eat junk food.
Really? Tell me about it.
Yes.
So you've got examples of times you've eaten fast food and it's ruined your workday.
Yeah, you just can't focus because my work, like I can literally measure my productivity because of the way the work is. I literally have to measure my productivity. I have a very clear metric for how mentally focused, smart, problem solving, creative I'm being. So I noticed like when I've been eating junk food,
Yeah.
see that metric go down. And when I've been eating like meat, actually, I've noticed really makes you mentally focus. Like good meat, obviously not eating crap meat. Meat, I've noticed. Fish, I've noticed.
I imagine it's I guess with the fast food, because the fast food is usually very heavy on the carbs, like with chips and pizzas and
Yeah.
just dough and all of that, that's going to take a lot of energy away from your brain, and it's going to be using it in your digestive system trying to break all of that down.
Maybe that's it. I've done keto many times before,
Hmm.
and I never really noticed much of a difference with keto, but
Okay,
cat's
interesting.
meowing. Can you pick that up on the mic?
Yeah, but it's fine. People know that you've got a cat. Do you want to just introduce your cat and just like, rather than us trying to hide his meows all the time, let's just introduce the cat and make him a character on the show. What's his name?
Well, first of all, it's a her, and I don't want to give the name because I don't want people to dox me. But the
Wait,
cat,
wait.
I will
How
call
are
it
they
the
gonna
cat.
dox you from a cat name? There's a million billion cats in the world, mate.
Listen, the way people dox people now, it's not
Hmm.
like, oh, I've got a social security number now. No, they the way the internet is they put together a lot of different bits of information, and before
Hmm.
you know it, they have your, do you know what
Okay.
I'm saying?
All right. Fair enough. So you've got a female cat, and that's the most you're willing to give away.
Yeah, or it may be male, maybe it is male, the
Maybe it
cat,
is
but
male. Maybe I was right. Maybe you got a transgender cat situation. Who knows?
yeah, maybe it's a
It could be
trans cat, yeah.
anything.
Yeah, but I just
Brilliant.
wanted to say that. I just want to say that because I think you will notice a difference. You will notice a difference.
All right. So if
Maybe
you're
in your
crabby,
phone.
ladies and gentlemen of the world, it's not because Johnny's a dickhead. He's just, he's a bit drained from work, and that's just how things are.
And sluggish from the game. My mind will not be mentally focused. My mind will not be mentally focused today. Anyway, how are you doing, Liban? You've had a haircut. You're looking trim.
I haven't cut my hair, but I've trimmed my beard a bit. My beard was getting a bit ungainly, so I just trimmed the sides a little bit.
Oh, right. Yeah, you look a bit trim. All right. So, how are you, Liban?
I'm good. I'm in a good mood.
You know what I was thinking just now?
Tell me what you're thinking, baby. Tell me what you got.
I think the fact that Amos is like the third member of our group has kind of been like perfect practice for starting a podcast.
How so?
Because because I don't because the thing about a podcast, the weird thing about it is you have to be conscious of a third person, like a third thing in the room, right?
Oh yeah, like
So you have this
the invisible audience member is something you've got to be conscious of.
yeah, and I think really I find it very easy because I just imagine Amos is the audience, and Amos doesn't talk much anyway, you know.
So it just comes naturally. We don't even
He's
need
a
to. We don't even need to
he's
put on a
no,
performance air. All we have to do is just keep doing what we've always done, and
yeah, yeah. I just find it very natural. So and then Amos is just in the corner somewhere, smugly condemning me whenever I say something
yeah,
controversial
smugly condemning you, and then laughing at my
and
nonsense and
laughing.
thinking
Yeah,
this guy is clueless. He does not know what the world is about.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Actually, speaking of, you asked how I am. One of the things I've been thinking about this week is something we discussed last week, which is masculinity. Some of the stuff we were talking about in terms of masculinity, just it ticked something in my brain, and it made me
Really?
think. Just as a little experiment for the next sort of 3 to 6 months,
Yeah.
I wrote down a list of what I thought were the positive traits of masculinity, and I'm going to see if I can cultivate some of that in myself and see if my energy and my vibe changes at all.
That's interesting. You know, I think about masculinity as well. In fact, I have a whole in my head, a book written,
Hmm.
my own Jordan Peele. When I get cancelled, I'm going to
Yeah,
go into that sphere and
yeah,
I'm going to write a whole book
yeah.
about how to be masculine. And
So here's what I've written down.
go
At
on.
the top is obviously the number one thing we discussed, which was self-discipline.
Yes,
I'm going to try to
yes,
be a bit more self-disciplined for a few months. I'm going
yes,
to try to cut out some of my vices and some of the things that I enjoy, and try to
yes.
control how I enjoy it and see if I can, if that makes a difference to my thought process.
Yeah.
Secondly, responsibility and accepting it willingly. One of the things I've always run from in my life is try to assume as little responsibility as I can, and to put myself in a position where not too many, as few people as possible, rely on me, because I don't
Well,
always
hold on
want.
a sec. Isn't because your job, you're effectively a manager of a small team of people. I don't think you'd be quite.
I mean that it's true, but one of the things that I do with my day job is I always I always try to train people up really like incredibly deeply so that
Yeah.
they are as competent as possible so that I don't have to do that much work in actually managing them. I tend to do a lot of the work up front and then I have a very light touch once they know what they're doing.
Well, that is the best way. That is the best way to manifest responsibility in that circumstance, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess so. Maybe I'm thinking more in terms of personal life. I don't know.
Give
There's
an
a different.
example, because I don't know what you mean by responsibility. What when you say you want to take on more responsibility or whatever you want to do with it, what do you mean?
I don't actually know. All I know is that in myself, I've got this sense that I avoid responsibility, that I avoid people trying to rely on me for things. I try. Here's an example. I rarely make promises. I'll never promise anyone anything. The most I'll say is, yeah, I'll try to be there. Yeah, I'll give that a go. Let's see how this goes. Whereas I'm going to try to be a bit more firm about that sort of thing and be like, no, I will be there. This will get done.
Right.
Blah blah blah. I'm going to be a bit more like less wishy washy and a bit more like, do you know what? I'm going to make the promise and then I'm going to follow it through.
Yeah, that's I wouldn't even call that responsibility. I would call that more
But it is about
decisive.
responsibility because
Decisive.
it comes from making the choice that you're putting this on your shoulders. You're accepting the responsibility that you have to follow through.
Oh yeah. I get what you're saying. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
guess
yeah.
maybe it's more of that, less being flaky.
Right. Go on. What else have you got?
And then the last thing is physicality. I'm going to try to be a bit more physical, a bit more. I don't
Yeah.
even know how to describe what I'm imagining, but maybe
Yeah.
exercise a bit more, get a bit
Yeah.
fitter, and then see where that leads me mentally.
Oh yeah. That'd be.
So those are the three things I've got. Those are the three
Wait, can
things
I
I'm going
add
to
some
be.
things? Can
You
I
want
add
to add
something?
something? Oh shit.
Let me,
Okay.
well,
Go
look,
on.
I have ideas about masculinity because it's become one of those topics you can't fucking avoid these days. It's everywhere now, you know. The masculinity. Here's. Let me give you a sneak peek into my
Into your
future
future
oncoming.
manifesto.
Once I'm cancelled,
Yeah.
and then obviously being cancelled means you can launch a career in a completely different trajectory, which is often lucrative. Right, got it all planned out.
Oh, nice.
uh, I'm going to write my masculinity book. My masculinity book is called The Monk's Way.
The monk's way. Oh,
The Monk's Way, or
oh, I can
something to do
see
with
it
monks.
already. Yeah,
The,
yeah.
the monk's path,
The
right?
friars and the brothers and the monks.
And it's because I see a lot of stuff about masculinity. Maybe because I still like browse video game forums and shit like that, which is all dudes or whatever. But I see all this stuff about masculinity, and people are so fucking wrong about it, in my opinion, which is correct, right? So let me think. How many? Okay, so let me start with the first one. Here's the first thing that especially I notice now with a lot of young dudes who try and become masculine. They call it alpha a lot of the time, right?
Okay.
And they judge the problem. The problem is fundamentally is that they judge masculinity through a woman's eyes. Like men think they're masculine if women like them, right?
Interesting.
And they end up with this caricaturish, like you get the abs, you get if you're like a real Chad, you know, the Chad meme. I'm like shagging women all the time, you know, hip hop guys do it all the time. I've got loads of women. I'm not a real guy. The reality is that no, you're not a real guy. That is what's a good word for it? What's a good word for it? I mean, it's completely opposite of what masculinity is, to essentially completely kowtow to women's version of what they want you to be. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's something external rather than internal. It's something that's coming. If masculinity is you driving yourself and assuming responsibility and like having a vision for who you want to be and going for it,
Yeah.
this quotation mark alpha model is
Yes.
something very much external that you're trying to mold yourself into. You're trying to
Yes.
fit a mold which you want.
Exactly. And it ties back into the self-control thing. The ultimate masculinity, masculinity is to not give a fuck about women whatsoever. Is to be completely self-contained and to eschew the desire to be sexually attractive and to play the fucking whole dating game and see what other girls like this, the girls like abs, or the girls like suits, or the girls like fuck all that. Ignore women and become
your true self. Find your true self first.
I mean, a good example, perfect example of this is the incels. You know, the incels community.
Yeah.
They're guys, right? They're young guys often. They probably have loads of, they're probably smart. They're probably like, you know, nerdy. They're probably into like sciences. I don't know, whatever. They probably have some qualities, but the reason they beat themselves down so much is because they completely judge themselves according to women. And so if women don't like me, that means I'm worthless. If women don't want to have sex with me, that means I'm worthless. And already you've lost the game completely. Because what is winning that game? What is winning that game? I'm a guy who gets those women. And that's not masculine either. Self-control. And that's why I think the monk's way, because you think of a monk does not need women. A monk does not need any earthly pleasure. The monk is devoted to a higher purpose. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I see where you're coming from. I like it. It sounds like a fun concept.
It's not a fun concept. It's a true concept.
I mean, this is where you and I differ. You approach things looking for truth, and I approach things looking for fun.
But the truth is malleable as well. The other thing I would say, I've said this to you before. No social media. Social media is a very feminine thing. I've said this to you before, right?
No, I don't think so. Tell me a bit about it.
The whole practice, the entire practice of every day going to a place, he said this, she said this, what's happening now? Oh, can you believe it? Oh, I like that. Oh, I don't like that. The whole practice of every day going and doing that and playing a social game of seeing and being seen. This is women. This is what women have done since the beginning of time. I'm not demeaning it. I'm not pejorative. I celebrate that. It's brilliant. And I think actually that's why women are so fucking good at social media. They know how to play social games. They know that, because guys go on social media and they're like, yeah, I'm going to write a really clever, factual, logical post. It's like, yeah, whatever. But the women know that logic and ideas don't matter. No ideas, just feelings.
Ideas, just feelings, baby. It all comes back to the tagline.
It all comes back to it, and women understand that so much better. They understand that a social game requires numbers. It requires appeals to emotions. It requires you can make the most wrong thing true if you could just finagle it with words and numbers and via this social game. Women understand that. Women play that. It's natural to them. It's as natural to them as team death matches to men. Do you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. So social media is something that people who want to attain a sense of masculinity should be avoiding.
Never do.
On that side, I'm absolutely fine because I'm not on any social media platforms. I've never really been that interested in social media. So on that side, I don't really have to change anything.
Well, let me take this a step further. And I'm going to say something that is massively controversial right now. Everyone's going to disagree with me, but it's the truth. Okay. You're going to disagree with me as well, for sure, in this, Liban.
I love disagreeing with you. Go for it.
But there's this thing now. Well, men should not talk about their feelings. That's it. Men should not talk about their feelings. There's this whole idea now that men suffer from mental illness, they have issues, blah, 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 because they don't talk enough, because of masculinity. They call it toxic masculinity. That is horse shit. That is relevant to women. Women get through stuff by talking about their feelings, by constantly communing about their feelings, right? But that's not how men handle stuff. It's not how men, I think, are biologically wired to handle stuff. In fact, the way men should, I think, are much healthier when they keep shit to themselves and they reflect and they observe their emotions and they live with their emotions and they keep it to themselves. All the old archetypes of masculinity, I think, are kind of true
So
in
you're
an
basically
inherent
going
way.
back to a stoic model of a man.
Yes, still waters run deep, strong but silent type. The cowboys with no name, Clint Eastwood. You keep, and because what happens with men, I think they keep their emotions themselves. They observe, they reflect, they build a kind of an interpretation of the world and a deeper understanding within themselves as an individual, because men are more individual. They're less, they can't play the social game. They're better off when they're individual. And then they act. Then they act. And this is this is what men do. This is why men have always acted more than talked, and women have always talked more than acted. Call that sexist or whatever. But I think it's actually it's and I think you can see a great example of that when you look at male friendships, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like men have friendships for like decades that are truly deep brotherly blood bonds, right? Men literally have throughout history died for their brother man, for friendships, sacrificed everything for their friendships. And I would bet you most of those friendships, at no point throughout decades do they ever talk about their feelings. And I say this from experience and also knowing other men who've had really long, loyal friendships. Does this experience bear out for you as well, Liban?
Not well. I get where you're coming from, but I think I skew closer to the feminine in this example because I've always been. I think even from a very young age, I've been very open with my emotions and my feelings. I'm basically an open book. I can't hide how I feel. When I feel down, it's very obvious. When I feel up, it's very obvious. And because it's so obvious, it's always led to very open conversations about what I'm feeling and what I'm going through. So I've never really contained myself in the way you're describing.
I don't think you have, Liban. I don't think you have a. I don't think you have. We've been friends for fucking what, over 10 years now.
15, man.
Yeah,
It's been 15.
we've never sat around talking about our feelings the way women do. I mean, for a start, women talk about their feelings every 10 minutes. If they keep their feelings to themselves for like a fucking half a day, they're
I'm
and
gonna. That's
this
a
is like
massive generalization.
it's
I'm
no
gonna have to cut you
generalization.
short there.
Come on, we know this. The
I've
women know this as well.
I've
You know
worked
what I'm
with a lot
saying?
of women. I've been around a lot of women. Not everyone is the way you're describing them. In fact,
Listen,
very few are because of that perception. I think you'll probably find a lot of women try not to do that.
oh my god, I'd love to meet some women who try not to do that because in my lifetime, I can't.
Or maybe it's because
I
I
don't.
see these women in a
No,
professional setting. Maybe
yes,
they try
yes,
to
why?
because they're professional relationships. They
Of
probably try to
course.
avoid doing that around me.
I'm not,
Potentially.
listen, I'm not, first of all, I don't think it's a pejorative at all. I think it's what's beautiful about women. I think it's one of the beautiful differences between men and women. But yeah, it's probably because you're in a professional relationship. I've had good friendships. I see my girlfriend talking with other women. I worked in a workplace that was all women. And women talk about their feelings. They have to talk about their feelings. But I think the whole idea that men, if they don't talk with their feelings for 10 minutes, they're going to shoot up a skull. It's a woman's version of what's
But I
actually
do
healthy
think
for a
there's
man.
something there. I do think there's something to be said for not bottling everything up because just because you bottle it up and want to reflect internally, you could easily end up reacting to it in the wrong way or letting it ferment like and rot inside you and like do terrible things to your state of mind. There's
I don't
something
dis-
there's something to be said for okay, sure, do your reflection, keep it inside, but at some point you're going to have to bring that out into the world and see how it meshes with everything else.
I'm I don't. I think look, there's all these words that we use, semantics, bottling it up. Why is it bottling it up? What good is like splurging your fucking inner emotions to any Tom, Dick, and Harry? I mean, first of all, the same people who are telling men to talk about their feelings because it'd be really healthy are all on fucking Twitter. What you think being on Twitter and men posting in the feeds, you think that social media is healthy? No one on fucking social media should lecture anyone about
All
mental
right.
health.
Let's take the social media aspect out of it because I think that muddies the water. Let's say talking about it one on one with your friend or talking about it one on one
Yeah,
with someone in your family who gives a shit about you.
I mean, I think so. Look, you know me and F. my
Yes.
best mate from when we
Yeah.
was
Yeah. You
fucking
and an F
12,
man.
13, right? Oldest friend in the book, like a
Mm-hmm.
brother to me, literally like a brother to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've maybe talked about our feelings 3 times in like decades, and they were after like really traumatic experiences,
Mm-hmm.
like breakups or and not even like big talk about feelings. Right. There's obviously times when maybe it is a bit, you got to release something, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm, not every fucking day. Don't constantly talk, because I think what happens is you end up in a kind of you end up in a kind of paralysis as a man. You talk about, and you're not going to be able to play that social game. You can't do that as a woman. And the irony is that women hate men who talk about their feelings. Women will tell you all day long, "Oh, I like men who talk about their feelings." The same way they used to say, "I like men with a sense of humor." But Louis
Mm-hmm.
C.K. had to surprise jack off people. So how true is that?
I don't think Louis C.K. is your best example of a
Brad
man.
Pitt, Brad Pitt never had to ask if a woman if he could
Yeah,
jack off
well,
in front of her.
neither did Louis C.K. Nobody forced him into that. No, he probably had plenty of groupies willingly throwing themselves
That's
at
true.
him. That was
That's
his own inner fucking weirdo pervert coming out.
true. But anyway, I've lost my point now. I've lost my point. But
Okay,
you
so
get what I'm saying. You
just
generally get what I'm
I
saying.
generally what you're saying I get, but I think I just disagree with you. I don't think obviously, even whether it's a man or a woman, I don't think it's a sensible thing to constantly be so caught up in your feelings that you're constantly talking about
Yeah,
them and reacting to them and not
yeah.
trying to sort of deal with them. But I do think I guess I'm more in the middle. I'm on the fence on for both sides because I'd more likely be partially introspective, self-reflective, and then bring it out and talk about it with people that I'm close to and see if what I'm thinking and what I'm going through makes sense to them, just to get a
Well,
bit of
look,
external perspective.
since you're trying it for like 3 to 6 months, why don't you try it for 3 to 6 months,
Mm-hmm.
not talking about your feelings to anybody? Instead, you keep it inside. When you have the impulse to go out and tell someone, "Oh man, I feel like shit because of this and that," don't do it. Just keep it inside.
Okay, all right. Let's see what
Try
happens.
it. Try it.
I see what happens.
Try
But the
it.
thing is, when I talk about my feelings, it's not it's not so much that I'm going around saying, "Oh my god, this thing is happening and it's making me feel shit."
Yeah.
It's just if the conversation happens to go there, I'm more than willing to talk about what I'm going through. It's not the sense that I'm going out and
Yeah. Yeah.
like just foisting my shit on the world and being like, oh my god, this is just vomiting all of my
Yeah. Yeah.
feelings.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Of
just
course.
like I'm talking to someone, and then we get to talking to how the last couple of weeks have been. I'm not gonna sit there and be like a stiff upper lip Englishman who says, oh, it's all chopped, jolly, all good, bloody yeah. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna be a bit more real and down to earth and be like, you know what? It's been a shit couple of weeks. I was a bit sick. I felt awful, and then it's just put me in a terrible mood. And do you know what? I'm in a funk. It's like I just needed a change of pace. I need to figure out a way to get myself out of this. It's just that's all it is. It's just
Yeah.
not pretending that everything is fine.
Yeah. I've got 2 things I want to say. Sorry, I want 2 things. But because what I was going to say first of all is that, yeah, you're right. You don't talk about your feelings. You think you talk about your feelings. You don't. We had a conversation about dating last time. That
Mm-hmm.
conversation about dating, if you're a woman, would have gone very, very differently. You would have been saying, "Oh, I just want to feel like loved by someone. Oh, I just want to have like someone actually commit to something and actually be willing to make a sacrifice." That's what I mean, like a conversation about feelings. Like, oh, and there was someone, and I think they were just, but it wasn't like that. You were just
Mm-hmm.
like, "Yeah, it's not working." It's a very masculine way to look at it mechanically. You were talking about it mechanically almost. So I don't think you talk about your feelings. But the other thing I want to say, listen, when I say women and men, right? I understand that there's abstractions. There's masculinity and femininity. That would be a more accurate way for me to explain my version of the world. There's masculinity and femininity. And obviously
Mm-hmm.
there's feminine men and there's masculine women,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I think the trans let's not talk about trans, but I think the area of trans, the area of Jung talked about this, the anima and the animus, right? We all have our shadow selves, we'll have the women inside, we have to reconcile these things, right? That's my version of, that's the version I have. But for me, for instance, I waffle on a lot of the time, right? I'm clearly not an advocate for what I'm telling other people to do.
You could talk for England.
Because I think genuinely, I'm like almost trans-minded. And I think because, well, I work in a creative field, let's say, and I think creation often happens when you reconcile the anima and the animus, and you have to be, you know, there's a very big archetype. You can keep your eyes open for women who are very masculine and very competent in certain fields, you know, they're very creative, you know. There's those like great lesbian musicians, and likewise, how many gay creative and gay writers are notoriously brilliant. Fucking gay musicians are brilliant. There's always a long history of penetration. Anyway, we're going off the topic here, but that's in this field of art and creation. I'm talking about regular masculinity, regular, straightforward, the archetypes from which we work from. You understand?
Yeah,
just make that clear. I talk about men and women. Yeah.
All right. So next 3 to 6 months, that's my, you know, little personal experiment, just to see if my mindset changes or if how I feel or how I do things has an effect. So it'll be interesting. I'll let you know how it goes.
Yeah, and we can follow it on the podcast.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing, is we can't follow it on the podcast until 6 months from now, because I've got to be self-contained. I can't be coming on here every week going, oh yeah, it's not working, or oh yeah, this working is great. No, I've got to be self-contained. We can talk about the journey I've been on after 6 months.
Yeah. All right then. Well, no, you have to come on the podcast and still talk.
Yeah, I'll talk. Maybe it's the wrong. Obviously, but I won't talk about this.
Yeah. Oh, we'll see. But that's interesting. That's interesting that you were thinking about masculinity. You know.
Well, it's just literally our conversation last week. We were talking about, I don't know how we got onto it, but we spent a couple of minutes talking about it, and something about that stayed with me, and I thought, let me try to see if I can, you know, cultivate that vibe and see if it changes anything for me.
Yeah, interesting. And
it's not even that I feel the need to change or anything. It's
I get it.
It's just to see what happens if I put myself in a different mindset.
Yeah. Great. I like it. I'm all for like shifts and experimenting with completely changing stuff up. All right. So we're going on to emails then.
Yes. I've got 3 emails today, and I'm going to give the same caveat that I gave last time. You're not going to catch me out. You're not going to try to, you know, figure out the truth behind the scenes. I'm telling you up front. 2 of these are fake emails, and one of them is from a friend. So go fuck yourself. You're not gonna catch me. I'm out here. I know what I'm doing, and you know what I'm doing. We're all on the same page. 2 fake emails and 1 real one, and the real one is from a friend. So fuck off.
Can we say one thing? We'll say one thing. We should not read the names out.
Why?
Make it anonymous, because I sometimes...
I don't want anonymous emails. I want to know who these people are. I want to get a picture of what they look like and feel like. I don't want a grey blob.
That's going to stop people sending in emails.
Well, the people who that would stop, I don't want to hear from. I want to hear from the people who are willing to put themselves out there.
Listen, send in.
Use a fake name if you have to. I don't care. Yeah. I just need you to use a name that's adjacent to yours. Don't use a fake name that's completely different. If you're from a certain country, I want you to use the name of the people from that country, because I want us to get all the flavors and textures of the world.
No. Use whatever name you want.
No. I want it to be close to you. I need to know who you are. I need to feel you.
No, if your name is Paul from Cheshire and you want to sound like you're from Sri Lanka, go for it. Just pick a nice Sri Lankan.
No, I want the Sri Lankans to come out and be Sri Lankans. I don't want them to be. What I want to avoid is a dude from Sri Lanka writing in as Paul from Cheshire, because I don't want a grey blob. I want the flavors.
I don't know about this.
I don't know about you, mate. I don't know about you.
I think. All right.
I think this is your own privacy thing, getting out there. Not everybody's like you. Some people don't care.
Some people are like me, and they do care.
Yeah,
and you
well,
need
those.
operational
All right. So
security.
for those, those psychos in the woods and living in their sheds who don't want to let themselves be
Yes,
known, feel free to use a fake name. But everybody
use a
else,
fake
come
name
out and be who you are.
and write, and write. Don't use my real name just in case Liban, because he obviously doesn't understand the need for operational security.
Yeah, for those people who need quotation marks, operational security quotation mark, absolutely. Write in the subject line, do not use my name, do not reveal my details, and I will just read the paragraph that has the body of your text, okay?
Yeah, and there are also services you can use that will reroute emails, so it sounds like it's from a different email address. And also, listen, if you care about operational security, you should have a fake email anyway. You should have fake emails, although be aware that they will track you. They will track you. I mean, the IPs, they've got everything. They've got everything on you. You know, if you're using the same device, whatever, the same router, they could track you, but do as best as you can to
You don't need to say any of this, Johnny, because the person who's like conscientious of operational security, they've already got all of this sorted. You just need to say, make sure when you contact us, you enact your security protocols. They've already got a document listing out all of their protocols. You don't need to tell them. They know.
I tell you what, one time, a long time ago, there was a guy, I can't remember what it was. This was ages ago, and he was, what was it? It might have been a podcast. It might have been doing like, anyway, I felt sorry for this guy, right?
Go on.
I don't know, something happened. I felt sorry, and I put a little donation. I donated a bit of money from him.
Yeah.
He read out my full fucking name on the donation.
Oh, and that left you feeling exposed.
And I'm like, okay, fuck. I was in a panic mode for a week afterwards. Because here's the thing,
Okay.
he read it out. Okay. And you think, oh right, who's gonna find the audio of my name? And I'm like, do you not know? I mean, technology is progressing slowly, I get it, but we are gonna reach a stage where you can literally Google search and find audio.
All right, you know
said
what?
this
Can I just say
name?
something? I want to take back again everything I've said. I'm very sorry. I should respect some people have a sense of privacy and anonymity that they want to preserve.
Yeah.
What you just described, Johnny, I didn't realize you'd gone through something like that and it had put you in that
Exactly.
state.
Yeah.
I don't mean to mock it because it's so alien to the way that I think and I approach things. I did laugh at it, but you know what? I'm sorry. If this is something that's important to you, do let me know and I'll do my best to preserve your anonymity.
I will read some emails sometimes as well. Obviously, when we stop just reading, when we stop just doing fake ones and Liban's written, I will be reading the emails as well, and I will be checking it, and I will make sure that we don't read any.
Yes, we don't want you to ever feel exposed and sort of put out there the way that Johnny was. We don't want that to happen to you.
Listen, I have hope. I have very high hopes that this podcast becomes preeminent in the conspiracy community.
Really, that's where you want us to be aiming towards.
I would love for us to have, because this is. I mean, like, yeah, I would like us to have to have the weirdos listening.
Okay,
I mean, that's
right.
not where the money is. I know that's not where the money is. I mean,
Yeah, and if you do remember episode 0, the main thing we're after is money. And the conspiracy community is not going to give us money because they're too busy buying gold and burying it in the woods.
the conspiracy people, look, a lot of them got crypto rich, right? A lot of them got crypto rich recently. Conspiracy people, and also I think most.
But are they willing to show? What's the sense of in the conspiracy community they give money out?
They give money out.
Aren't they just hoarding it for themselves for the end of the world?
No. Conspiracy people mostly don't have a lot of hobbies because like movies and music are all just MK Ultra operations, right? They don't do that. Video games are all just nonsense. That's designed to put you into a vegetative state. Literally, conspiracy people, they're like sitting on millions, living in a cabin in the woods,
rather than getting a little bit of money from lots of different fish, we need to hook in one big conspiracy whale and get lots of money from one big conspiracy dude in the middle of Montana.
But I tell you the other thing. I just remembered the only time I've ever subscribed to a podcast was the Higher Side Chats, which I love, highly recommend conspiracy podcast. I subscribed to them for fucking 2 years
Gotcha.
to get
Okay.
the full hour because we need to support each other, us conspiracy guys, right? We
Okay.
know the world is against us right now.
I
We're
don't.
working
I'm
against the
against you.
team.
Forget the
We're-
rest of the world. I'm against you. I don't support you. Conspiracy people. This is only 50% of this podcast support you. Don't come here thinking that this is a completely safe space. I'll respect your operational security, but this is absolutely not a safe space for you.
This is a safe space because I will
And
protect.
there you go. 50-50.
I will protect you. I will protect you. And if you put the word conspiracy in your donation, that money will go exclusively to me. Whereas if you put get the vaccine, that will go explicitly to Liban's pocket. We should do that.
We
No,
should
shouldn't
we
do
should
that.
have oh my
That would
god.
be
Absolutely. We should have
no.
separate phrases that people put into donations and subscriptions. We'll have three of them. One that is the general pile, which we both split.
Yeah.
One which
Yeah.
is specifically aimed to me, and the other one which is specifically aimed to you. And we'll have
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's gonna get
That
so
would be-
ugly because
That
once
would
we
get ugly, yeah.
because it's one thing to split popularity and for one of us to be more popular than the
Yeah.
other one, but if
Yeah.
there's actual monetary and financial implications to that, that
Oh,
would be
man.
so ugly and painful. Oh my god, I love it.
Oh,
Let's
man.
do it. Let's do it.
Well, I'll tell you what would happen. If I ended up getting a lot more donations than you, I would just split it anyway.
I wouldn't. If I got more than you, Johnny, I would hold it over your head. Every episode, I'd be like, let me go through how much money I got this week, Johnny. Look at this, Johnny. Isn't this fun, Johnny? Fuck your conspiracy community, Johnny. I'm such a piece of shit. Oh, mate, I would not give
Nah,
you a
you wouldn't
penny.
do that. You
I
wouldn't do
wouldn't
that.
give you a single penny. Oh
wouldn't do
my
that.
god. I would come onto the podcast wearing furs and gold chains and pimp canes. I would come in here looking like a 1970s pimp.
Well, like I told you, the conspiracy community is powerful and rich. Don't forget, a large contingent of conspiracy community is basically boomers who just sit on fuck tons of money and, obscene everything. Although boomers are also most. Anyway, whatever. But
Okay. On to the emails. First email from today. It goes a bit like this. Hi, Johnny and Liban. My name is Oluwatoyin, and I'm a 17-year-old guy from Lagos, Nigeria.
ooh, I was about to do an accent then. I should just fucking do it. I should just do
Just
it.
immediately you hear Lagos, Nigeria, and you're like, you want to do an accent immediately.
Yeah.
I have a serious problem. My mother is a very good dentist. Everyone in our neighborhood loves her. She's pushing me to go to dentist school because she says it's a stable job with good money, and she always mentions how she wants me to take over her dental practice when she retires. But I don't know if I want to work as a dentist. If I had a passion for something else, I would push back and have a serious conversation with her about this not being right for me. But unfortunately, I don't have a strong ambition. I don't know what I want to do, so I don't have a good argument. What should I do? I'm really confused and lost right now. Best regards, Oluwatoyin.
How old is he?
He's 17. So I think he's just about to finish high school either this year or next year. So the situation is...
His mother is a popular dentist where?
In
Specifically,
Lagos.
No, but in the neighborhood, did she say?
Yeah, in the neighborhood that they live in.
This is the only problem. See, my instinct to say to him, look, unfortunately, the way it works is you put some time in when you're young and you reap the rewards for the rest of your life. And, and your mum, it's a long tradition of dentists. And when you are on your deathbed, you're a long way from your deathbed. When you're on your deathbed, honoring your parents would be one thing that you realize is actually quite important. Right now, it doesn't seem important, but you love your mum. I'm sure you'd say that. Maybe you take her for granted because everyone takes their parents for granted. So ordinarily, I would say, in fact, I think you should do it. Listen, I'm sorry, mate. You should do it. The only thing is that she's a big dentist in the neighborhood.
Yeah, she's probably popular in our community. Everybody, you can imagine the person already. Everyone's like, if you need a bit of dentist work, that's the person you go to.
Yeah, he lives in a different world though. Maybe he's dreaming of, another place.
But that's what
Maybe
he's
he
saying. He's not. He
he
says,
doesn't have
he
ambition.
said,
That's why,
if I
yeah.
had a passion for something else, I would push back because clear. It sounds like he's got a spine. If there was something he wanted to do, he would go for it. But he just doesn't have anything. But he just doesn't know if this is the thing for him.
Do it. Go be a dentist, man. Don't listen. If you don't know what you want to do, if you don't even know what then just fucking be a dentist. At least do the school, work hard in your school. You're 17. By the time you're 21, 22, you'll be done with a dentist school, right? You have an establishment. And maybe even if you have other interests, let me tell you something.
It's
As
never too
someone,
late. You can always swap.
yes,
Like
if,
if you finish your education and then work in this field for a couple of years, there's nothing to say in your late 20s or early
yes,
30s you can't move on to something else that you once you're a
yeah.
bit older and a bit more sure of what you want to do.
Yeah. I mean, when I was young, I knew I wanted to do something creative from the very, very beginning, right? And because of that, I threw away everything else, every other opportunity, going to uni, all that shit. I threw all of that away because I thought, right, well, I'm just going to go straight for what I want to do. Now I realize if I'd have just done all that regular shit, if I'd have just sucked it up and done all that regular shit, got a job, I'd be in a much better position now to do a whole world of creative shit. Whereas now I'm still, do you understand what I'm saying, Liban?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I
Go and
get
get
you.
that foundation. Your mum, listen, you take your mum for granted, but your mum is smart, right? Everyone
And
respects
she
her.
only wants the best for you. She's trying to give you a stable foundation.
But there's probably a part of her also that wants wants him to be wants a bit of respect for raising a good son. There's always a bit of
Oh, there's
that.
always
She's a
that. There's
community
always that.
member, like that.
Absolutely. When you're
But
out there and you're a public visible figure, you want your children to be respected as well.
go be a dentist, man. Go to a fucking dentist. If you're 25 and you suddenly decide you want to make movies or some shit,
Let me tell you something that as a 17-year-old you don't think about. Money is fucking great, man. You at the moment you're 17 years old. Your
yeah,
mom makes decent money as a
yes,
dentist. You've never had to worry about money. But once you're out there living in the world and you have to pay your own way to do things, money is a very real concern, my friend, and it's a very real thing that you have to think about in terms of what you do, how you spend your time, your relationships with your friends, and your relationships with women. There's a lot that goes into the financial side of things that you don't think about at your age, and having a decent job,
yeah,
it gives you a lot of sort of mobility and social
yes,
freedom that you don't get otherwise. So the least I would say is it's not the worst thing in the world to go and study this dentistry, make a decent bit of money, and then you can start making whatever moves you're leaning towards.
exactly, exactly. What's this guy's name?
Oluwatoyin.
Oluwatoye, listen to me. Listen to me. I want you to do something, right? Go out for a walk. Go out for a walk. Go out your front door in Lagos. Go for a walk. Maybe find some quiet streets. You go for a walk. Imagine your mum doesn't exist. Imagine your house that she pays for doesn't exist. What do you have? What are you going to do? You have nothing. You have nothing. You're 17 years old. You're a blank slate. You have nothing. Where is your money coming from? Nowhere. You have nothing, right?
Yeah.
But if you're a
God
dentist,
forbid, God forbid your mum dies tomorrow and you're left with nothing else.
yeah.
What's your move? What are you capable of? What are you going
But
to do other than work in a cafe?
let's say when you're on that walk, and you finally realize that you have nothing without your mum. Now imagine that you spent the 4 or 5 years, however the fuck long it is, to do that dentist thing. That's all you have now. Now you can walk anywhere in the world and say, here, I'm a fucking dentist. I come from a long line of great dentists. Now you have doors are open to you now. Now you can go where you want and be safe in the knowledge that you have some
Skill or
building block.
some
Yes,
job that you can go into without worrying about whether you get it or not. There's
do it.
always a need for dentists. No corner of the world are you going to struggle to find a job. Europe, all over the place, people need dentists, and there's a shortage of dentists. Dentists are like desperately in demand everywhere.
Well, if people just try to alkaline mouth diet to just try to raise the pH of it. But you know, that's I won't destroy your whole profession. I won't destroy your whole profession before you've even got into it. But
So what we're saying to Oluwatoyin, go for it. Don't worry. If you don't have anything you want to do, don't worry about it. Just go for this thing. Enjoy it. Give as much of yourself as you can to it, and then try to get as much from it as you can as well.
Yeah, and enjoy the fact that you are making your mum happy. You know, enjoy the fact, because you take that for granted now, but when you're older, there's something you'll be pleased you did.
Absolutely. Could not agree more.
Yeah. All right then.
All right, that was a nice one. Thank you, Johnny.
All right, so second email.
Bonjour, Johnny A. Liban. Greetings from Marseille, France. My name is Josephine. My sister introduced me to your podcast last week. You guys are so fun. Keep it coming. Could you guys please put out 2 episodes a week? 1 episode is not enough. Au revoir, Josephine.
Well, listen, Josephine, if you want us to put 2 episodes a week, give us some money.
There you go.
Give us some money.
If you give us more money and get other people to give us more money, we will put out more episodes.
If you like this podcast, give us some fucking money. All right?
Give us money, Josephine. How do you say money in French? Do you know? Let me look up on Google.
D'argent. That might be change. I think it means like silver. But I think they...
Oh, l'argent.
L'argent.
Yeah, you had it.
It means
give us
silver?
some of that. Give us some of that, please.
Yes, give us some...
Josephine, send me money and I'll give you more. You want...
Give us money.
Like, we're very reasonable. I'm more than happy to give you more episodes. Just give us money.
You know what? Why doesn't everyone talk about money on podcasts? When I was dipping in podcasts, they're making fuck tons of money. It's so bizarre. You listen to these podcasts, they make ridiculous amounts of money every month.
But that's just that's not just podcasts. It's society in general. People don't like to talk about money. People don't share how much they make. People don't share how much they spend on certain things because they're embarrassed if they spend too much or too little. That's only if they spend too much. If they spent a little, they're more than happy to tell you, be like, oh, you won't believe the deal I got on this. But if they spent a silly amount of money, they're not going to tell you that because they think you'll people do not like to talk about money in general, Johnny. It's not just podcasts.
I get it. I'm obsessed currently though. Whenever I see it, whenever I hear someone mention a podcast, immediately Google Patreon, how much they get, and you have to do weird maths because a lot of people, they hide the money they're making. But you see like 300 Patreons, average is about $5 a patron, even if the minimum is like 1 or 3. You do the maths, you see how much money they're making.
So you go, Josephine, please. I want to give you more episodes. You gotta give me some money. I need that money, baby. Josephine, please, baby.
Listen, the reason we need the money, we're not profligate people. We don't have terrible habits. We're not going to fucking, we don't buy phones every fucking week, right?
We don't buy trainers every week. We don't buy
this shit.
We don't buy Supreme t-shirts every week. We're not going to be spending it on silly things. We're going to be spending it on fun things.
Basically, all money is to me is the ability to not work. And the irony of that is that when I don't work for some other cunt, like I have to, it's my Capricorn moon. I have a Capricorn moon, which is the only reason I'm still alive, really, but also the bane of my life, which is that even when I don't work for some other cunt, eventually I just start banging my head on some other project that I invent for myself that I have to work on,
Like this podcast.
I can't, I didn't, you could tell I'm not taking this thing lightly. I actually did think about this thing a lot. I want it to, I can't.
You definitely think about it more than I do. I've got
to say. Which is ridiculous because it's your idea.
You're putting more of yourself into this than I am. And I'm kind of worried that I should be doing more.
I told you about this before. Like even when I work for some other cunt.
Yeah.
I always try and do a great job.
Yeah, you can.
Even when I hate the workplace, I hate what I'm doing, I think it's completely pointless, I still try and do a good job. I cannot do it in any way. It sounds like I'm in an interview. It sounds like the sort of thing you lie about. My
biggest flaw is that I'm really good.
My biggest flaw is that I can't do a half-assed job. I don't want to ever do a half-assed job. I take immense pride in everything that I do. You know. In
So
fact, my horoscope for this year said that I'm going to be rewarded for a lot of work that I've done in the past. And I went back and I thought about all the different times I've gone above and beyond the work projects in the past. And I was like, fucking hell, there's a lot of people that owe me some good shit.
there's a lot of people that give karma send your way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Josephine, give us money. This could be the start of that, Josephine. You want more episodes? We've got more episodes in the bank. We've pre-recorded so many of these. We will give them to you. You gotta give us money. And with that in mind, I'm happy to announce we're finally launching our Patreon.
Are you serious?
Yes, we're doing it. We're gonna make a Patreon account. Patreon.com/Liban is listening. Did you hear that, Josephine? The Patreon account is right there. It's ready for you. All you need to do is go on there. You will get more episodes, baby. You will get more of me. You'll get more of Johnny. You'll get his private rants. You'll get everything you've ever dreamed of, Josephine. All you need to do is go to the Patreon, sign up, and give us that moolah.
Wait. Hold on. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Shouldn't we kick it down the road a bit? I mean, what is this, the 5th episode?
Yeah. No, we're not. I'm immediately putting it out there.
But
episode 5, they've had 4 free episodes. They know what we're about. Come on now, people. You know you want this. You know you want more of this.
But hold on. The problem is, right, if you started too early,
yeah,
it's going to be, that patron might just sit there looking sad and lonely.
Let it. I want that to be a pressure. I want to pressure the people who listen. I want everybody who listens to us to feel such a sense of pressure every time they go to that website and they see 7 subscribers offering £30. That's your fault, okay? You listening right now, if we're getting £30, that's your fault and you need to fix that.
Fuck you. Fuck
you. Fix it. Oh, that tickles me. That really tickles me.
You know, I did want to say, I don't want to do any social media for this.
Yeah.
Right? You have to handle that. I want to do it. But one thing I would be willing to do is Twitch streams.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would actually be quite fun. If we actually have an audience and they're up for doing, they would come in and do for the Twitch streams to do chats and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm up for that. That sounds really fun.
I would be happy to do it, and we could maybe we could find a way to do it together as well. There's games that I would like you to play with me going over your shoulder.
Okay.
I like
Absolutely.
older weird games.
But we can also do podcast recordings on Twitch. We could have an audience live with us as we're podcasting on Twitch, and they could be chatting to us and contributing to the episode.
Yeah, maybe when the call-in shows happen, although I do like the idea of when we do a call-in, it's not live. Okay. You call us between the hours of 4 and 6 GMT on Sunday. Mm-hmm. It's not going to be broadcast, right? Okay. You call us, you're speaking to just us. It's intimate. And then that way, I think you don't get people just trolling, because who are you trolling? You're just going to make some noise on the phone and then we hang up on you. No one else can hear it. True. You avoid that. And people might feel a bit more comfortable just talk to someone on the phone, and All right, brilliant. Yeah, we've got a couple of good ideas there. So yeah, contribute to the Patreon, and we're going to report on it. Not necessarily every week, but every couple of weeks, we're going to see how many subscribers we've got, and if it's not looking good, you guys better sort yourselves out. We're not going to be happy with you. Okay, this is a team effort. Should we talk about money? Here's the other thing I wanted to say about that.
No, because one of our segment ideas was that we were going to take the money from the Patreon, put it into the stock market, and then that's a fun little thing for us to talk about and to experiment with. So, absolutely. You guys, we want to have fun with your money and to show you how easily you could also get rich. So, Josephine, we've got a lot for you, Josephine. You know what you need to do? Patreon.com/Liban is listening. Patreon.com/Liban is listening.
You can also donate to the PayPal.
Yeah. If you want to do a one-off payment, send it via PayPal. You don't have to subscribe, but we prefer a regular subscription, don't we? I think that's much better.
No, Patreon takes a cut. I mean, PayPal takes cuts as
PayPal takes a
well.
cut. Everybody takes a cut. I
We
think
need
it's
to open
better
up
to have
crypto wallet.
a dependable regular subscription is much better than a one-off PayPal donation.
Yeah, that's right. Because people forget about it.
Yes. Before we move on, can I just say to Josephine, who just emailed us, I
Mm.
tried to keep this contained, and I was hoping that I could get away from this segment without having to reveal this. If anybody else lives in France and wants to email us, don't. I don't like
Why?
French people. I have
No.
problems with French people. I've never gotten. I've met so many French people in London, and of all of them, there's only been one person that I thought was a really good human being, and the rest of them have been terrible. And so it's given me this disdain and contempt for French people, which I'm very sorry, but I don't want to hear from you. Please don't email us again. Josephine, don't
no.
subscribe to the Patreon. I'm sorry, but as a nation, I completely disregard you, and please respectfully stay away from my podcast.
Oh no, no,
I'm
no, no, no.
sorry.
Disagree. Disagree. I love the French.
I'm
Although I will
sorry.
say,
People of
I will.
France, you're snooty, you're arrogant, your culture isn't even as interesting as you think it is. You're nothing. You're absolutely nothing. You're a joke. I don't know who gave you the idea that you're something, but you're nothing. I'm sorry, France. Please don't. Maybe it's because of all the French people who come here are dickheads, and all the decent people stay home and they stay in France. That's the only thing that I can assume. But if that's not the case, and the people that I've met and interacted with are representative of who you are and what you think and how you approach life, then you're a nothing people. Your people are you have no value, and just please.
You know what? You're
Please.
destined to marry a French woman. You know that. When you have an opinion like that, Liban, you are destined to be blindsided. You're going to end up with a French woman living in a little
No,
little chateau in the
no,
south of
no,
France. That
no,
is happening. That is going to
no,
happen.
no, I
And you're
can't.
going to learn French, and you're going to fucking
I
eat
can't.
French food, and you're
Oh,
just going to. That's going to
they're
happen. I could
so
sense it. I saw it.
these people, I don't know what gives them the nerve to be the way they are. Who gave you
Well,
who told you who told you were something? That's the phrase I always wanted to say to friends. Who told you that you were something? What audacity they have to look down on other countries the way they do, and then to assume that they have a position of, oh my God, these people,
yeah, again.
these fucking. Josephine, I spit on you.
I
Josephine,
actually no,
do you
no. I
hear
love
me?
you,
I
Josephine.
spit
I
on
love.
you.
Listen, if she's
You're
listening to this,
nothing.
she can't be bad.
You're
She can't be
lower
bad.
than the dirt between my toenails. After a long day of walking about, when I get home and I need to wash my feet, that's what you are. You're my toe scum.
Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ, the vitriol, the anger.
Josephine. I can't. I
I
can't.
can't
I don't even
believe
want
it.
to talk
Liban
to
set
you.
himself up for a tirade about the French. Could you believe it? That's how much he wanted to get this out in the open. Jesus Christ. Listen,
No, this
I love
wasn't
the French.
supposed to come out. This wasn't supposed to come out. This was meant to be a nice little email about putting extra stuff, extra content out there. It was never meant to be about my hatred for the French, but now it's come out. Maybe subconsciously I wanted to talk about this, but I
We should
hate
take a
you.
trip to France. We should take a trip to France, I think.
I went to France. I went to France a few years ago for work. I went to Cannes for a film and TV
You liked
festival.
it.
It was a beautiful place. It was
The women were
amazing.
beautiful, you
The
said?
women were beautiful. The men were dickheads. It was just absolute.
Well,
It
maybe
was
the
the
problem is the
climate
men.
was amazing.
Maybe it's the men who had a
No,
problem.
the women as well. I've had problems with French women.
What's the problems with French women?
They have the same attitude. They have the same air. They have the same audacity. It's endemic. There are bad people. There are good peoples and there are bad peoples, and the French are a bad people. Blanket statement.
I think you're just very British, and I think you've now got the British hatred of
I'm not
France.
British. I'm international. I'm cosmopolitan. I'm a man of the world.
No, you and me are both very British. As much as we're both very British,
Listen,
and I
I'm a
think
man of
this
the
is
world. I'm a man
yeah.
of the
Je
fucking
suis un homme
world.
de monde.
No. Oh, I'm
Beautiful
trying to think of
language.
I'm trying to think of a
Beautiful
way to wrap
language.
this up. No, it's not a beautiful language.
It
It
is a
is
very beautiful
absolutely
language.
not. God, all of
What's a
those
beautiful language? German.
No, come on, that's an ugly language.
What's a
That's a
beautiful language?
very.
What do you think is a beautiful language?
I quite like Gaelic. I like Gaelic. Gaelic sounds lovely to me.
I don't think I've ever really heard it.
Gaelic sounds nice. I quite like the sound of Spanish, especially not that, but Colombian Spanish. I really like Colombian Spanish for
Oh,
some
right,
reason. It
right,
sounds the way
right.
they talk is very rhythmic and melodic. And there's beautiful languages out there. French is not one of them. Not those fucking French people.
Okay, you push it too far. Everyone knows French is a beautiful language. It just
It's
is a beautiful
it's
language. To
not.
English is it's beautiful.
Oh no.
You know what? There's a whole topic I could go into, but instead I'm just going to recommend people Google Sapir-Whorf theory, which is something I very
Don't Google that.
fundamentally.
If it's anything to do with French people, don't Google it. I disrecommend that.
It's not about French specifically, but it's an unfortunate theory that came about at an unfortunate time in history. Otherwise, I think it would have a lot more prevalence.
If you're French, stop listening. Disconnect right now. Turn this off. Turn it off.
All right, let's go to the next email. Let's go to the next email. I can't believe this.
Just turn it off. I don't want you here. You're not welcome.
No, you are welcome here. I love you. I love the French.
I swear to God, if any
I love the
French
French.
person, I'm in charge of the emails. If any French person
You're not in charge.
emails
Who's in
us again,
charge of the emails?
I'm in charge of the emails. I'm taking charge, Johnny. If anyone emails us from France, I will lambast you in public. I will read out your name. Fuck operational security. I'll expose you to the world, and I'll Google you. I'll find you on Instagram, and I'll spend the whole segment destroying you because you're nothing.
Listen, if you want me to read your emails first, put Johnny for Johnny in the headline. If you want Liban to do it first, put for Liban.
Liban is listening at gmail.com. That's what you email. Liban is listening at gmail.com.
And just put for Johnny if you want me to read the email first, i.e., if you're French.
Fucking. Oh, okay. Let's move on.
Are you feeling? You got to get rid of this anger, Liban. Punch a wall or something.
No, I need to just breathe. I need to think of a nationality that isn't French. So give me a nation. Give me a nation.
Polish.
Oh, now there are lovely people.
Really? You like the Polish?
I love the Polish. Every Polish person I've ever met has been just down to earth, lovely human beings, so kind, surprisingly sweet. And I'm talking about dudes, girls, just all of them. Lovely people. Agnieszka. So many. I've met 3 different Agnieszkas, and every single one has been an absolute delight of a human being.
Agnieszka, is that very popular? Is that the most popular Polish name?
I don't know if it's very popular, but for some reason I've met 3 of them, and all 3 of them have been fantastic friends.
Did you know that every woman in the Mediterranean is called Maria?
I didn't know that. That's interesting. Every single one.
True fact, yeah.
All right. Hi to all the Marias in the Mediterranean.
All right, next email.
Okay, next email has a bit of a different format because it's written by someone other than me. If you've noticed the last 5 fake emails, they have almost a formulaic way of them at them because I wrote them. But this one it's got a different style altogether. Subject line, can you really determine from someone's voice what kind of lover they are? And in the body it says, that is all, full stop. And this is from my friend Christine.
Don't give her name out, man.
I'm giving her name out. She doesn't care. Her name's Christine. She's my friend, and she's like our second listener. Our first listener is obviously our third pastor of the group Amos. Second listener, my friend Christine, and she sent us this email that says subject.
Don't give too much inside baseball, Liban.
They know this. We've mentioned all of this stuff like 3
No.
different times.
But what did I tell you? What did I tell you? I think it was in the very first episode.
Go on. What
You
did you
have
say?
to tell people that we have fuck tons of listeners. We have thousands of listeners. The reason.
By the time we put this out there, absolutely, they will have
this.
this.
Is irrelevant. So you're downplaying.
Yeah.
When we need to be upplaying. Not only you're downplaying, even though we probably have 5 listeners at this point.
All right, do you want me to cut this bit out? Do you want me to cut this bit out? I'll
Absolutely,
redo that.
100% cut
I'll
this
redo
out.
that. Okay, let me start from scratch.
BBC Home Service.
This is an emergency announcement coming to you live from the edit of this episode of the podcast. I've made an executive decision not to cut any of that out. I get the final say. Get fucked, Johnny. Go fuck yourself in a bush somewhere. And now, back to your regularly scheduled program of Liban is Listening.
This is the BBC Home Service.
Well, you can determine someone's body from their voice. I mean, you
No, you
don't-
can't.
I think
It's
you
not
can.
body, we were saying.
No, but I think that's interesting. That
You actually think you can determine someone's body
I
type
do
from
think
their
you can.
voice?
I mean, first of all, you can tell a black voice. You can tell usually if someone's big.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell if someone's very skinny, neurotic. You can tell if someone's tall. Their brains tend to work slower because they experience the world like milliseconds less, milliseconds
You
slower.
really think
than
so?
short people. Absolutely,
Interesting.
absolutely. Obviously, you can tell if they're a woman or a man. Major differences there.
Mm-hmm.
But this is, of course, in reference to last week or the previous week. I can't remember
Mm-hmm.
where every email we received said that they thought Liban would be a very good lover. You sound like you.
And it was fascinating because I don't know what gave this impression to all the people who were emailing in. Every single one of them was saying, Liban, you sound like you would make a great lover, at times very passionate, and at times gentle and very caring. And I don't know what gives this impression to people.
Well, people could find someone's voice very erotic, can't they?
Oh, absolutely. But I don't think I've got an erotic voice. I think I've got a very normal voice. But something about it just gave these people the, impression of a very competent and caring lover.
Well, you can tell a lot about a person. I mean, first of all, you're saying something with that voice. So they know something about you already. So maybe you sound like you would be a very good lover because of all the things that you're saying. Maybe you're sensitive and caring in the podcast and they presume, oh, he would be very nice in the bedroom, in the bedroom as well. So there's that.
Okay.
But I think you can tell a lot. I'll tell you one thing, you don't really get many women with sexy voices around now, do you?
No? That's a good question. Where did all the women with the sexy voices go? Where did they go?
Yeah.
What happened?
I saw some old movies recently with Catherine Hepburn.
Mm-hmm.
You know Catherine Hepburn?
Yeah, of course.
We should put a clip of her in here.
And just as Johnny has suggested, here's a clip of Catherine Hepburn's lovely voice.
The time to make up your mind about people is never. Yes, you are. And a complete one.
You're quite a girl, aren't you?
You think?
Yeah, I know.
Thank you, Professor. I don't think I'm exceptional.
You are, then.
I know any number like me. You ought to get around more.
She has a very strong voice, but at the same time it's still kind of feminine, and it can be very it's a very nice voice, very strong.
It's funny you should mention that. Yesterday I was watching this movie, Funny Girl, from 1968. It's a musical starring Barbara Streisand. And that's a bit of an odd one. I don't know why I ended up watching that, but I did, and I loved it. It was a good time. There was one woman in it who had a really husky, earthy voice, and I as soon as I heard it, I was like, oh my god, that is so hot. Her voice was incredible.
Yeah.
And you're right, you don't hear many women's voices like that these days.
One I've got an example as well. When I was talking about chat call-in radio, there's fake call-in radios you get sometimes on video games. Vampire the Masquerade, which is the game that I played last year, had a big effect on me because of the atmosphere. And there's a radio station in that, which is hosted by a woman. And the voice is just, I love her voice. I mean, her voice makes me think 90s, the grotty underbelly of a city. It's just fucking great. And, I don't like talking about voices very much because I detest my own.
Yeah, I think most people do. I don't think.
No, I don't think people hate their voices as much as I do. I hate the Cockney accent I have.
So for you, it's a bit of a complex. You've got a complex about it. Then.
I've got a complex about it, but I've not got a complex. It's true. It's fucking true that having
you can have a complex about something that's true, can't you? Does the word complex mean it doesn't exist?
Yeah, it means it's a psychological. It's a factor.
No, but you can have a complex about a real thing. Like if somebody has a big nose, they can have a complex about their own big nose, right?
Maybe, yeah. But if they have like a massive nose, and is it a complex? If it's like a massive nose that is the only thing you notice about the person, you know, then it's not really a complex. They're right to be worried.
No, but you can be right about something and still overthink it and be anxious and.
Well, I'm not even overthinking it. I mean, I'm doing a fucking podcast, even though I've got this terrible, mumbly, horrible Cockney voice. You know.
Well, we've had this discussion loads of times.
We haven't had this discussion on the podcast.
Not on the podcast, but I don't think you do. I think you've got a perfect voice. I have no problems with it whatsoever.
I wish I had a different voice. You know, there's a Greek myth. About Cassandra.
Mm-hmm.
And in the Greek myth, this woman does something. I think she tells a lie or some shit. And the gods punish.
She tells prophecies, right? And then nobody.
Well, that's the punishment. The punishment for
that's
her
the punishment
from the gods is that she can foresee the future. She can tell the future. She's telling the truth, but nobody will ever believe her. Mm-hmm. And that is what it is like having a Cockney accent.
Ah.
They gave Cassandra a Cockney accent. Whenever you think of that Greek myth,
yeah,
she's probably like, she sounds like Birds of a Feather.
Yeah.
She sounds like Pat Butcher.
He's like, oh, you better not go over there. There's going to be a war on.
There's going to be a war, I keep telling you.
Court blimey, watch out. Hercules is coming. And so we find ourselves at the end of another week, another episode, another little act in the play that is our lives, and got a little opportunity to reflect here and to really think on what's important to us and what really matters. So once again, I'd like to ask you to join me in the toilet, bathroom, WC, water closet, in front of the mirror, look at it, and I want you to say the following sentence after me. And it's really important because again, just like last time we did this, it's important that you think about this, feel it, internalize it, live by it. Okay? Say after me. Never trust a French person. Never, ever, ever trust a French person. You must never, ever trust a French person. Never trust a French person. Never, ever, never, ever, ever, never, ever, never, ever trust a French person. They're not trustworthy. They'll hurt you. Okay? This isn't a mantra so much as just a cautionary tale, okay? You don't have to repeat after me. I'm sorry I made you go into the toilet. That's my bad. I'm sorry. Just don't trust them. They're not good, okay? Bye. Have a good week. Bye, Felicia.